Welcome back to the channel. My name is Carrie with Blue City Pickin, and we're back with another What Sold video. If you're new here, I am a part-time reseller who sells on eBay and sometimes Facebook Marketplace. I had a couple of those sales this week, and goes around to a bunch of different places that you can find inventory, looking for things to find for a profit. Today is Labor Day, so Monday, September 1st here in the States, and it is a holiday. And I'm going to be going over sales from the 28th through the 31st. Actually, it's the 27th through the 31st, but I had 0 sales on the 27th, which I can't even remember the last time that's happened, but it is what it is, right? Like we're just here, guys. We're doing our best, and you're gonna have days with 0 sales. I did find it interesting though that when I came back later that day, eBay's like seller dashboard. So if you're a seller and you have a store and you go in there, it's completely different now. So I'm assuming something was going on. It was messing with the searches, and so I wasn't getting as much maybe external traffic onto the page, but I still had a pretty decent set of days. So over the 5 days, I had 25 sales, which is perfect. So I try to list 5 and sell 5, or list 35 and sell 35 in a given week. So I had 25 over those 5 days, and I had $780 in gross sales, which includes shipping and taxes. $625, which is the price I agreed upon with the buyer. I had about $113 in cost of goods. And so my profit was $400.41, which is a 64% margin, which I'm super, super happy with. Said 25. My average profit per item this week was $16.02, so that was great. My minimum was $1.22, and the maximum was $86.50, which was a really nice pickup. I had something that sold the day I listed it, and then I had something that took 566 days to sell. And no, that wasn't the one thing I made $1.22 on, but I did make a whopping $3.14 on that one. Sorry if you can hear background noise. My kiddos are being loud, apparently. It's just the way it is. Of my 25 sales, 16 of them were bread and butter, so anywhere below $15 in profit is what I consider kind of my bread and butter. And then I had 9 that were above $15 profit per item, which was great. Let's see. So for the whole week, like if I add up all 7 days, I had 50 sales and $750 in profit, and right at $15 in profit per item, which is amazing. Great week for me. Let's go ahead and get into this. So let's go over the 2 Facebook Marketplace sales first. The first thing that sold is this set of needlepoint chairs. I had actually purchased these at a local Goodwill for $10 a piece with the intention of using them in my home. I did not end up using them, so I listed them on Marketplace for $40. And so after cost of goods, I made $20 on these chairs. The other thing that I listed on Marketplace is this big Hot Wheels lot. Most of this came from the bins one day when I filled up an entire cart of Hot Wheels for like $2 or something like that. Some of this was stuff that we already had that was just like a sunk cost that I had already spent. So I basically did the $10 cost of goods from the bins. They sold for $50, and so I gave myself a $40 profit there. But in reality, like if I added up the Hot Wheels we actually bought, it was probably a loss. But I was happy to move out a large amount of things that were taking up space in my house. So 2 really big sales there. Let's go ahead and get into what sold on eBay. First thing is this pair of new Mini Melissa Girls Mary Janes. They were size 10. I picked these up for $5 at a yard sale back at the end of July. They sold for $23.20, and so I made $14.51 in just 31 days. Next up is a Cracker Barrel lantern, a glitter globe. This was Halloween. I'm surprised that the Halloween wasn't in the title. I don't know what I was doing there. I paid $5.24 for this at Goodwill back in February. Nope, yep, $5.24. It sold for $20, and so I made $9.11 after 162 days. At this point, with it being the beginning of September, I am looking to move the Halloween stuff for this year, especially things that I've had for a while. So you'll see a couple Halloween items sold this week. Next up is a Sack Roots purse. It was straw. It was really cute. It was brand new. I paid $10.96 for this at City Thrift back in February. I had an offer for $25 and I went ahead and accepted it. And I made $8.31 after 191 days. After having something that long, it doesn't matter what I think it's worth. If I hadn't had a lot of activity on it, goodbye. Next up is a Swig Life Mega Mug Pouch Skulls Day of the Dead water bottle accessory bag. Paid $1.50 for this at Goodwill back at the end of July. It sold for $10, and so I made $6.28 after 27 days. Next was a very nice sale. This was a Pendleton women's swing dress, size extra large, burgundy, merino wool long sleeve. I paid $7.33 for this at Goodwill back at the beginning of August. I got an offer for $31 that I just went ahead and accepted because I had had such slow sales for going on 3 days at that point. And so, but I still made $19.40 on it in just 4 days. Next is the first of 2 hook fishing hats that I had picked up at the bins last weekend. I had $1 into them. Got an offer for $7, which I accepted, so I made $4.29, and this sold the same day I listed it. Next up is a cute little metal caterpillar bug insect. I don't know what you want to call it. Had $1 into this at the bins. I got an offer for $7, which I went ahead and accepted, and I made $5.97 after 77 days. Next is a really nice sale. If you haven't seen this in one of my haul videos, you should be seeing it soon. This was a lot of 32 Fisher-Price Little People characters. Picked up most of these at the bins the same day I picked up those hook fishing hats. I have $1 into them because my bins does not charge by weight. I got an offer for $42, which I accepted, so I made $33.91 the same day it was listed. The second hook hat, $1 into it. This was a camo one. It sold for $12, and so I made $7.66 in just a day. Next is my best sale of the week. This is a vintage LL Bean beige leather boat bag. It was a tote, but it is leather. These are a little bit more rare from what I can tell. I had $7.48 into this from a regular Goodwill back in July. I got an offer for, actually I bought this probably back in May, but I was trying to get the perfume smell out of the inside. I was not super successful, so I just, excuse me, mentioned that in the listing. I had it listed for almost $200, but I got an offer for $120. I had $7.48 into this guy, so I said okie dokie and said goodbye and made $86.50 32 days after I listed it. Next is another Halloween item. This is a Winnie the Pooh and Tigger flag. I had $1 into this from the bins back in May. It sold for $11.16, and so I made $7.72 after 62 days. Next is another bins pickup from last weekend. This is the same day I picked up the hook and the Little People. This was a pair of Nayot blue nubuck leather booties, and I was able to find these after all of the shoe resellers had totally ravaged a bin, so just know what you're looking for and you'll be all right. Got an offer for $29, so I made $23.57 in just 5 days. Next is something from a home clean out. This is a pair of Riviera Resort plush from Disney World and Mickey and Minnie. They sold for $39, and so I made $32.53 after 17 days. Next up is something that I've had for a really long time, so long that I don't have a cost of goods in here. So I don't know what I paid for it. This was a Vera Bradley pleated satchel zipper retired pinwheel pink print. I think I had $2 or $3 into each one of these. Well, it finally sold for $11.08, and so I made $7.08 after 503 days. Yeah, Vera's just not, unless you can find like the big luggage pieces. I've had better luck with those. Next is the longest tail item in the store. This is a Torrid teal blue plus size moto jacket in a size 3. I paid $2.99 for this at a regular Goodwill in February of 2024. Sold for $8 whole, and so I made $3.14 after 566 days, but it is gone, and I'm happy. Next is a pair of Merrell Fly Strike women's trail running and hiking shoes. I paid $11.99 for these at a regular Goodwill last October. They sold for $34, and so I made $17.01 after 310 days. Next is my lowest profit item of the week. This is a vintage 2006 Witch's Spooky House Halloween candle. It was new, it was still wrapped. I paid $4.13 for this at Goodwill back in February. It sold for $7.96, and so I made $1.22 after 206 days. Next is another Little People sale. This is a table with 5 chairs, and they were yellow. I had $2 into this from a big Little People buyout back in May. It sold for $14, and so I made $8.21 after 67 days. Next is another nice sale. This is a Robert Louis, New York women's black suede jacket. It was a size extra large. It looked really cool. It had like grommets and stuff on it. I paid $8.37 for this at a Goodwill back at the beginning of August. I got an offer for $30 that I just went ahead and accepted, and I made $15.15 after 28 days. Next is a Bagolini crossbody. I had $1 into this from the bins back in July. It sold for $15.20, and so I made $10.67 after 48 days. Next is something I would pick up again for a lower price, but I made a mistake when I bought this. They had priced the lid and the bottom separately, and I didn't see that when I initially picked it up. I didn't see it till I got home and looked at the receipt that I had been charged for both pieces, and I didn't realize it had 2 prices on it. This is a Reed & Barton Mayflower 5001 vintage lidded vegetable dish, and it was silver plate. I paid $5.98 for it. I thought I was going to get it for like $2.99 at a Goodwill just a few weeks ago. It sold for $18, and so I made $6.52 after just being listed for 4 days. Next is another item that I would not pick up again unless it was like unless it comped out like really nicely. This is a Caledonia Pottery vintage ceramic toast rack. Yellow rose floral hand painted. I paid $3.13 for this at a Goodwill back in February. It sold for $10, and so I made $5.02 after 166 days. And last but not least, over this, I guess it was a 5-day period, but really only 4 days of sales, was a Build-A-Bear Pokemon cape for Glaceon, one of the Evolutions. This came from one of my kiddos' room clean outs. I'm pretty sure I sold Glaceon a while ago, and then she found the cape when she was cleaning out her room some more. So I went ahead and listed that. It sold for $10.20. So I made $6.63 after just 3 days. As far as where things came from, super heavily weighted to Goodwill this week with 81% of my sales profits coming from that. 10% coming from home clean out, and then yard sales and other equating to the rest. Clothing, shoes, and accessories came in at 54% of the profits this week. About 30% were toys, and about 15% was household goods. So great week or great 5 days, despite the fact that I had 0 sales on one of those days, and I think 3 sales on the 28th. I had 5 sales on the 29th, 4 sales on the 30th, and then the 31st popped off with 11 sales. So just be patient. It all works out. eBay's futzing with something. Getting ready for Q4, be ready for Q4, keep your rating up, make sure you're getting your stuff shipped on time, list consistently, make sure you're checking to make sure your older things are priced properly, that the shipping's not overstated and things like that, and just keep on rolling. And if you like this kind of content, I do put out 3 reseller videos a week. A combo of what sold, hauls, and other things, and I appreciate you hanging out with me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.